Funny thing for my first YouTube video, and I noticed that my mic wasn't doing the best. The sound was in and out. So I'm having to do a voiceover here for you guys. But that's fine. It's much more clear and you can hear me. We're going to be doing a repot of my Swiss cheese. It's also known as a Monstera Adansonii. I always have a hard time pronouncing it, but she's starting to get a little leggy. Her leaves are getting small. And as you can tell, some of the leaves are starting to turn yellow, which to me is signaling that she's probably root bound, or I've been giving her too much water, but it's been happening on her older leaves, not her new leaves that you can see right here. All this new bushy growth is when I first got her. Is from after I got her at the nursery and I gave her a nice pruning. Her long vines were really janky, and I pruned her to stimulate growth to start to get really bushy like you see here. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to take off the wire that was looped into the side of the pot to create this artificial hanging pot. I'm not a fan of these, but that's the pot the plant came in, and it's been very helpful. So I'm going to take some pliers and I'm going to slowly just work the wiring loose so I can flip it out, and then it's gonna pop out of each hole. So just a quick backstory on myself. I got into plants about maybe 2-3 years ago when COVID hit. Like, I used to enjoy them beforehand, but I didn't really get really into them and take the time and knowledge to understand plants until I had the free time with COVID to just understand the different types and needs that plants have. And I'll share my collection with you guys throughout my journey here on YouTube. But I have a bunch of snake plants, calatheas, I have a bunch of monstera, I have some syngoniums, dieffenbachia I cannot take care of for the life of me, but that'll be a conversation for a different story. Let's get back to this repot. Alright, let's take a look at these roots. We're going to slowly take the pot out. Oh, she came out pretty quickly. Let's take a look under, let's look around. Yep, she's root bound. She may not look like she's really crowded around the edges on the ground, but at the base, she's got like these layers of roots that are piled up on each other, which tells me that she didn't get enough water throughout the pot. It was mainly pulled at the bottom, so we're going to make sure that we can separate as much of the soil away as possible so that we can give her into a nice chunky mix. Monstera are aroids, so they have these thicker roots that like to latch on to different things so they can grow up and get more mature leaves. And when you have chunkier roots, you want to make sure they have a mix that is, again, chunky. So you want to use pumice, perlite bark on top of your soil. That way that the roots can breathe properly as they are getting watered and drying out. You need to give them that right cycle of drying and watering in between so that the roots don't get root rot. That's one of the biggest causes of root rot, is if we overwater and the soil stays wet and soggy for too long. And Monstera aroid plants like to dry out completely between waterings before they get another watering. So I think the reason why when I got this plant she was struggling was she was probably watered too quickly and the water pool at the bottom, but there wasn't enough time for the water to collect the top, so she started to struggle. And this mix also looks like it's more of a cocoa fiber, peat maybe, mixed with perlite. And that's fine if you're buying it and keeping it at a nursery, but over time it's not beneficial to the plant, especially not aroids. So what you want to do is you want to take that soil out, separate it, and give it a chunky mix, especially again with aroids. Just to let you guys know that it's taking a little longer than I thought, and it looks like a lot of this fiber may be really in here, so I'm gonna have to use the hose. Alright, so here's what I got. I was able to get maybe like more than half of the soil off. The roots look really great. There's still some peat fiber, cocoa fiber at the base, but that's fine. It's actually a little chunkier than I thought, so we're going to make sure that we supplement and give her some nice thick soil mix when we get her into a nice pot. So my soil mix here is a combination of cocoa coir, pumice, bark, and I throw in some worm castings in there to help to give it stable fertilizer, because with cocoa, if you're still learning about plants and soil, Coco can't naturally retain nutrients as compared to regular potting soil because that contains organic matter and manure. So the fertilizer in the worm castings added on top of here for the worm castings for the cocoa is what you need to do to make sure that your plant has steady, sustainable fertilizer while you're in growing season. So I'm going from a 6-inch pot to an 8-inch. It looks really big here, but if you see me put it in, there's plenty of room. Try and give about 1 inch to 2 around the diameter of the pot from your old to your new, so that we don't give the plant too much space that it can't properly grow, and we suscept our plant to root rot if we give it more soil than it needs. So we're gonna go from this 6 to 8 inch, and as you can tell, I found this in my backyard. It's got spider eggs and stuff, but that's fine. We're gonna keep this plant outside anyways where she's been. All right, we're gonna throw in a few paddlefuls of our mix here so that we can give the roots maybe 1 inch to 2 at the bottom, maybe 3 of soil so that the roots can grow down and around. And we're just gonna set her in. Let's see if she fits here. It should be good. Perfect, it's a nice fit. We want to give maybe about 1 inch to 2 max from the top of the lip of the pot to the bottom, so that we can make sure that when you water, your water has a little space to pool and then filter down through the bottom and drain out the bottom of the pot. And at some point, you just got to get it in there and use your hands. Sometimes it's easier just to use your hands. And remember to shimmy that soil. Give it a good shake as you're repotting to make sure that the mix gets into every nook and cranny so that all the roots are covered. So don't be afraid to get vigorous with your pot when you're repotting. That's one of our cats, Snowball. She likes to randomly make appearances throughout the house. She's a unicorn. She'll show up when she wants something, then she'll just be MIA. Yep, that's what she does. I almost forgot that I recorded this whole video in the phone style mode and not the widescreen that you expect on YouTube. So that's my bad for my first video, but hey, it's gonna happen. Anyways, here's where she is after she's repotted. We're going to give her a nice hose down. That's the pot I used to dunk the roots in to kind of clean them up. All right, so we're going to take the hose, put your shower feature on. Sorry, again, I hate it when hoses get really tight and you have to pull them apart. I've been meaning to get a hose roller thingy, but I've been too lazy to do it. So for now, I'm just going to do the shower feature here, and we're going to make sure we hose the top of our leaves, give them a good hose, and give water to your plant. So one of the good things about hosing your plant down outside too is it can remove any pests that may be lingering, like spider mites. I live in a really dry climate, and spider mites tend to be one of the pests that the plant is prone to, so you want to make sure you give them a good hose here and there. And don't be afraid to drown that hoe, as the lovely Plants with Crystal says on YouTube and on her shorts and on TikTok. She says, drown that hoe. You want to make sure that the water gets in deep and really, really lets the soil settle to make sure the roots are nicely compressed with the soil and the water. So I'm going to be using this catcher here that I got on Amazon. It comes with its own chain. It's about 12 inches long. It's a sturdy painted metal. I really like it. The pot that it's in doesn't have any holes to push any metal through to hold it up, so we're going to have to just put it in. And here's the chain. It's pretty cool. It's a little annoying to get it set up, but once you get it in, it'll be good. I'll speed this up here too. And here's the final layout. She's on top. She's hanging in our east facing side of our house. Bright indirect light. She won't get direct sunlight, which is great because these plants will burn quickly. Thanks guys for watching.